We had Tim Dillon go on Joe Rogan recently, and they talked about a lot of things. But one of the biggest things they talked about was Vice President JD Vance. Listen to this. So they talked about JD Vance's relationship with Silicon Valley tech billionaire Peter Thiel, member of the PayPal Mafia, this guy who might be the antichrist. We'll talk about that a little bit later potentially. But this guy who's really invested in transhumanism and wants all of this power in this country and for the world. And so they were talking about him, and for a lot of people, they exposed for the first time to normal audiences just who exactly fueled JD Vance's political career. So we'll play that clip for you right now.
You're also doing well enough.
Two Israeli startup entrepreneurs played roles in the rise of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She pulled out of an event commemorating Rabin. Some concluded that AOC doesn't like Israelis, but two were instrumental in the lawmaker's early career.
Oh,
That's where it gets weird. They find you when you're young.
they find you when you're making mojitos.
They find you when you're young and promising, like JD Vance.
Well, that's the thing. JD's going to have to, if he wants to be the president, he's going to have to say, Peter Thiel, I'm
is the
not.
Antichrist.
He's going to have to say, Peter Thiel is Satan, and here's why that's good. JD has to get out there and go, wouldn't you rather know who Satan is and be friends with him and have dinner with him than have it be like, who's Satan?
Right.
So he's got to get out there and say, I happen to be friends with Satan. And I want that to be
He's misunderstood.
I want it to be destigmatized.
Right. If Satan could go on the Nelk Boys, maybe they could straighten it out.
That's right. Peter Thiel on the Nelk Boys, when they go, what do you think about fast food? And he goes, I take one pill every day to survive. And it gives me all of my nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Peter Thiel eats food like a person. I think it's like he has some type of,
What?
you know.
What do you think?
I think a lot of these tech people, like, they don't like food. They're not food people, a lot of these tech people. I went to a few of these tech things in Austin. It's not, the food's never the thing. They're not like food people. They're not like, ooh, let me eat food. Like wasps are not either. Like real old school, like waspy.
Didn't you get invited to have lunch or something, dinner with Peter?
Yes, I said no.
Did you?
I said no. I'm a little wary of that circle of people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying there's anything inherently evil about them because obviously there's people in there. I don't know that I want to go to a dinner with someone who's going to talk endlessly about the Antichrist.
But yet you'll go to Saudi Arabia
Yeah, of course.
and perform.
So a little shady. And nobody really talks about this. Like, you don't hear about this in mainstream news. You don't hear about this anywhere, really. And it's very interesting when you look at the political backers of JD Vance and Trump this cycle, too. I mean, this is somebody in 2016 who was claiming to be against the swamp and not take any political donations. Fast forward to 2024, and you have him taking donations from all of these people, whether that's Miriam Adelson, Israeli, who was thought to have connections to Mossad, gave him $100 million for his campaign. You have people like Elon Musk, who obviously has strong connections to Silicon Valley. You have people like the Peter Thiels. You have the Zuckerbergs. You have the Bezoses. All of those people. You have Bill Gates now. He's talking to Bill Gates about creating new pharmaceuticals for people, which is obviously a little bit weird considering back in 2020, the whole campaign was against people like Bill Gates. You had people like Donald Trump Jr. suggesting that Bill Gates was on Epstein's Island. 2025, 5 years later, he's sitting down with Bill Gates in the Oval Office. And so you have this whole, and the list goes on and on. Larry Ellison, CEO of Oracle, talking about creating a vaccine for each individual person. Whether or not that's going to be forced, that's a completely different subject. But it's just very weird, the influence that all of these Silicon Valley tech billionaires who are they're all socially awkward, or they appear to be socially awkward. They don't have normal human tendencies, just like Tim Dillon and Joe Rogan are talking about in this clip. And then you have the rise of transhumanism. You have with Elon Musk and Neuralink and putting a chip in the brain and being able to have, quote, the intelligence of the gods is what it's been called. And it'll turn us into something that's not human. Talking about this on the show for a long time, the past 4 years. It's a big fear, and it's something that's going to come with a lot of pushback. And so, again, to kind of weave this all back together, this is what JD Vance is. JD Vance worked at a tech company in San Francisco, but it was essentially a no-show job. When you listen to people that interviewed his quote-unquote co-workers, they said he never came into this job once. This is where he was able to write the book Hillbilly Elegy. And it's very interesting. This guy was posed. He was posed as like a never-Trumper in 2016, 2015. And we know this, right? You've seen the clips. You can go all the way back. And he says, I think Trump is Hitler. I think Trump's a Nazi. I don't like all the policies. I don't agree with anything. Condemns him. And then Trump wins. And he wasn't supposed to win. This is the greatest political victory of all time. The biggest underdog victory of all time. Completely beat the system. Completely showed how voting works and this stuff. If you really have a focused political campaign and you touch with a message, you touch the people and you make them feel the issues, they'll vote for you. And he ran a flawless political campaign. Didn't take any donations. Very, very smart. And so he does the impossible, and then all of a sudden you see, oh, well, this guy has the power now. So they slowly kind of morph JD Vance because that was going to be their Trojan horse. That was going to be their guy to somehow get in the White House, get somebody in the White House, have a pawn, and then they have all the power. And when they have all the power, they can control all the regulation. And then when you have somebody who is essentially your pawn in the White House, who's the most powerful person in the world, and you can kind of control regulation. You can kind of control what you're able to get away with. And so that's their ultimate goal with him, is to be able to have all of this power to push forth these ideas, to push forth transhumanism, to push forth all of these, the H-1B visas, which we've talked about on the show, so they can employ people at a cheaper rate and force out American labor. This is real. This is happening right now. And then so obviously 2020 comes around. He loses the election. 2022, JD Vance sees that Trump, he's putting his hat back in the ring. JD Vance also successfully runs for senator, wins senator in 2022 in Ohio. Had a massive backing by, you guessed it, Peter Thiel, who we literally just referenced. And so we're going on and on and on. And now you have JD Vance openly talking about, oh yeah, if Trump dies, yeah, I'll succeed him no matter what, of course. And it's like kind of coming out of nowhere, essentially. And there was a scare about Trump's health. People thought Trump was dead a week ago. Now he's miraculously back and nobody's talking about it. It's very creepy and it's very interesting, man. So we'll continue to monitor this. Hopefully it doesn't happen. It'll be a big problem if he does somehow get to be president without being voted in. But it's a very dark thing, and this is just obviously like a summary. This is not bringing much facts to the whole situation. There's multiple people on the internet that have done very good deep dives on the subject, and would highly recommend you go check that out. But yeah, that's the show. So please, feel free to give the show a like, a subscribe, a comment, anything just to push the show up in the algorithm. Appreciate everybody watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.